I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'm Katie Crosby. I am the chair of the county party. Thank you, Keith. And it's so good to see you all tonight. We are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. But right before we do that, I'm going to give you all a moment to look at the chat and click on that link and please fill out the sign-in form. It just helps us keep track of who's here. And we're excited that you're here. So again, you can look in the chat and click on that link and fill out that sign-in form, and then we can keep up with you. We're not going to spam you or anything like that. We just want to send you updates so you can stay involved. All right, so now we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, we've got a couple flags on the screen tonight. Awesome. All right, you ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. And yeah, so we've got guest speakers tonight. We've got a lot of candidates who are going to be joining us. And some of them will be hopping on and speaking for a moment and then leaving because we know how busy candidates are. So before we get to our guest speakers, looks like we have a few guests joining us. If anybody would like to unmute and introduce yourselves, please go ahead.
Everyone's so shy. Democrats shy? Come on now.
Well, I recognize
I am, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Carolyn Powell. I'm in Sun City.
Hi, Dr. Powell. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. Oh, oops.
Hey, I am Yokima Curitan. I am in the city of Lancaster.
Hi,
Oh.
Yokima. You said Yokima Curitan?
Uh-huh.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, so you're in my turf. I live in Lancaster across from Discovery School.
Yes, I live behind, I live off of Clinton Avenue behind McDonald's.
Okay.
Yep.
Yokima, would you spell your last name for me, please?
Yes, ma'am. So Yokima, last name Cureton.
Thank you.
I filled out the online sheet as well, so.
Thank you. And Karen, I can share those answers with you to get you any spellings and full names and whatever you need. Just remind me because you know how I am. Oh, we have Helene in the chat. Helene Chillian from Treetops. A couple names I recognize from Treetops on tonight. Susan says Treetops here also. All right. Well, before we get into our guest speakers, I just want to share for a minute why I look like this mess that I do. I was in Columbia today for an abortion rights rally. So the Senate, the South Carolina Senate, formed an abortion committee, and they are trying to push through an entire abortion ban. And so regardless of how you feel about abortion and whether or not you'd want one yourself, this is really bad for our state. We're going to see the poorest people and minorities and people who are already marginalized further marginalized and further kept in poverty. And that we know that's not good for any of us. When we all do better, we all do better. So it's really important for us to stay on our representatives and to elect new representatives who are going to support us. And that's why we've got candidates coming tonight. So it looks like I'm going to let Keith go first. Keith, if you're ready.
Okay, you caught me off guard, but that's an appropriate fill. All right. Well, nope. I can pass.
Oh, saved by the
Evangeline
bell,
here.
Keith.
I'm off the hook. Good evening, Evangeline.
Hi, Evangeline. Can you hear us?
Evangeline.
There you go. Should be able to unmute.
Hi.
Hi. Thank
Can
you
you
for
hear me?
joining us.
Yes, thank you for inviting us.
So this is Evangeline Hunley. She's going to tell you a whole lot more about herself, but she is our candidate for CD5 for our congressional district to go up to Washington, D.C. and represent us in Congress. Go ahead, Evangeline.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? I'm trying to get a view of everyone. I had a few technical difficulties signing in, but I'm here. Thank you, Lancaster, for delivering this opportunity to me that I might represent you guys in the U.S. House of Representatives for the 5th Congressional District. Guys, I am ready to represent us. Finally, we've got some representation that we can depend on to look out for us here because we don't have any, as you know, and we got some big issues ahead of us. I live in Edgemore, South Carolina. Not sure how many of you know exactly where that is, but I'm border of Chester. Oh, I'm on the Chester side of York and Chester County line. So I have been in this area my whole life, attended Winthrop University, and married a gentleman that happens to live also in this area. So we have 3 children, all grown, and and 3 beautiful grandchildren. So you'll get to see a lot of them on the trail as we embark upon this journey. I'm looking forward to fighting like you don't know what to beat Ralph Norman, because we need better representation in this state. And I do think that our district has the best chances at getting that representation for the Democrat, because we're the only ones with a plan, and we've got to really get out here and let people know about it. I intend to do a whole lot more of that, considering myself right now on a listening tour, if you will, for the next 30 to 45 days. So I want to get into each community and find out what you need for me to be doing when I go to Washington for you. I've got a lot of good ideas of myself, generally simply building on what's already being done in Congress. And I can see that this dynamic Lancaster County Democratic Party has written its own most important things that you guys are striving for, which go right in line with what the national Democrat plan is, except for I know that it focuses more in on the area that we're in. So we have to marry what's already being done in Washington with what we need to do on the ground. And the only way I'm going to know exactly what that is, because while we're all the 5th district, 9 counties, each county has its own needs. And so we want to make sure that whatever monies we're able to get from Congress, because you know that's what we do in the House of Representatives, we deal with funding. We need to have a supermajority in both the House and the Senate, and actually in the State House as well. So I would like for, as we're going along in this process, for our mission to come together, our message to be in sync, so that we can go out and win voters that we need to come out and vote for us. It's going to be mobilize, and get that message out and get people at the polls and excited to vote, because we got a lot to fight for. Women's rights, we got to fight for, restoration really of the rights that we have, that the Supreme Court is tearing down. You know, aside from getting more people on the court, I don't know what we can do except put all our power and energies into what Congress can do. And that is where we have to make these laws and get them through the Senate and get Joe Biden to sign them while he's there. And just promote all the good things that we're doing, guys. We are really doing wonderful things for this country and getting drowned out in the process. But I am ready to represent us and let people know all that we're doing and we intend to do for women, for minorities, to fight to make sure our voting is fair, which starts in our state. So we got to just support each other all the way through this. Gun laws, ready to really put forth all my effort into supporting stronger gun laws, because what happened recently in Illinois could happen to any of us. Y'all, I was actually in a parade that morning in Fort Mill, in a very similar type community, Baxter community, which you all are familiar with. Beautiful, peaceful looking, but I could just imagine that that could have happened to us. And it's scary to come home after being in a parade and seeing what happened to those beautiful, innocent people at their parade. So it's serious, and we got to get stronger laws. And I'm certainly going to push for that and have some ideas as to how we can really get that to be a reality and not continue to talk about it. So those being some of the two top hot issues we know, but in my listening tour, I will be able to find out more of what your needs are concerning healthcare and Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all those things that we want to make sure that we are still fighting the good fight for. So that's my spill. You got any questions for me?
I do. Evangeline, can you hear me?
Yes. Who am I listening to?
I'm Dr. Carolyn Powell. I'm in Sun City.
Hi. How are you?
I'm
Dr.
fine.
Powell.
How are you?
I am fine.
Good. I was happy to hear that you are doing a listening tour, because one of the things I think will help us and help the state is not just to listen to what the concerns are of the constituents, but to also let them know you are going to come back to them and
Yes.
say, this is what we were able to do.
Yes.
Now, we
Yes.
may not have been able to do everything right away, but we were able to do this and this.
Exactly.
But more importantly, in order for you, to go to Washington to do whatever you have to do, they have to be registered to vote, because you may be talking to people who are unregistered, or Democrats or Republicans or independents who haven't voted in a long time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you want them to understand none of what you can do, you will be able to do without their vote. None
Yes.
of this is possible.
Right.
The voting is the answer to a lot of these issues, particularly when you're talking about suppressing the right to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Because coming back to them lets them know you care.
Yeah.
That maybe you were only able to do one or two things.
Yes.
That's okay, but I'm going to go back and we're going to try this again, and we're going to do town halls.
Yes.
Because that is the key to sustaining what you are going to do in the future.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Powers or Powell.
Powell, Powell.
Thank you, Dr. Powell, for that input. Right on the money. The reason why we're not getting that now, obviously, is because the person that's there has nothing to talk about. And the reason why our state is not feeling the effects of some very good policy that we've been putting forth is because there's no one that can actually say, hey, look what I did. But that is something that I look so forward to, Dr. Powell, is being able for you guys to hold me accountable, and the sense of, this is what we've said we're going to do. This is how I fought to get that done. But to your point, the only way that we are actually going to feel it and see these things come to fruition is sustained voting. What happened to us with Roe going down was not something that happened overnight. Republicans spent over 50 years sustaining their efforts to make this happen. We got to vote like Republicans. We have to sustain our fight to the end. And what I hear a lot out there and have to deal with a lot, especially with millennial, and I say millennial because I feel like everything from that group down hasn't shown, and not all of them, but hasn't shown that commitment or desire to vote in the way that they should, or even fully understand the connection between voting and their life today. So when I speak to a lot of the millennial and people, I have to combat that whole idea of my vote doesn't count, or what has Obama or Biden done for me lately, or, you know, that whole thing that I have to do it. But it's okay. I welcome that, because 9 times out of 10, when I'm done, they are ready to vote because the connection that's being made between the choices that we have in front of us to make, choices we made in the past being the direct result of how you're living now and not feeling it, and then how we can move into changing that. So voting is everything, but sustained voting, so that immediate gratification is the whole point that I was making. We have to get past that part of the resistance by letting them know that, of course, you won't see everything the first time, but that is why you continue to vote. You continue to show up, because things happen for the people who show up. So I'm 100% in agreement. So that's got to be a big push, is our voting numbers. Because, you know, like you said, Dr. Powell, one other thing on that, there's 1 million non-voters, and that could be of any party who's just lost that desire, or just forgot how important it really is. But by now, I think that we have a great platform to build on, to sustain us through this process, and for us to win. I see a lot of winning going on if we do it right.
Yes, and if you can use in your campaign as a possible suggestion, college students who are
Yes.
willing to help you canvas, because
Okay.
you are one person who cannot do it by yourself.
Right.
And so if you can go out to the various counties and get the Democratic club in each county to get college students, whether it's from the community colleges or for the four-year institutions,
Mhm,
to help you canvas
mhm.
and have them understand that when they canvas and go to door, it's not about them so much talking to the person on the doorstep, but about them listening, them listening to that person, getting their information and saying, we're coming back to you. You asked me 3 specific questions that I have written down. We're going to come back to you.
Well, I like that.
Regard to your questions.
Mhm,
And we may not have been able to do all 3. Maybe we've only been able to do 1. But
mhm,
we're going to sit down over coffee or whatever
mhm,
in the coffee shop or on your stoop, and
mhm.
we're going to help you understand what we have to do so that you feel a part of this.
Yes.
Because people like to feel that they have not been neglected. And that's why there has not been the kind of voting in this state. And I'll make this one last statement to you.
Yes, ma'am.
I was on a Zoom, and I know Keith was there, and a gentleman from the South Carolina Democratic Party got on, and he was just giving us basic information about what the state party was going to do. And he mentioned that in this state, there were, I'm going to say, approximately 275,000 to 300,000 Democrats and people who have never voted in this state.
Mhm.
That's too many people not voting in this state.
And I'll interject, there's 1 million registered voters who are not voting in this state consistently.
Well,
Registered.
exactly. And I almost fell off the chair because I'm
Yes,
thinking there's something wrong here. Why
correct.
people are not voting.
Right.
So we have to
Make the
figure out,
connection.
make that connection with them on a human level
Mhm.
first,
Yes, ma'am.
before you ask them for their vote, because it's the most precious thing they can give you.
Yes.
But they need to understand.
Excuse me.
Actually,
me.
I'm gonna
This is
jump in
Terry
because
Kimball.
we don't
Yeah.
have a whole lot of
Well,
time
Thank
for
you.
each
That's
candidate
all I
tonight.
have to say for Evangeline.
Thank
Okay.
you,
Um,
Dr. Powell.
You're
but-
so very welcome.
So Evangeline, thank you. And you are welcome to stay on if you have time. I know you're busy. Because of course we do have more questions for you, just like I know Carrie does, and so does Keith. So you are welcome to stay on with us if you like. And if not, could you please drop some information in the chat so that Carrie and Keith can send their questions to you and still get those answered?
Okay, yes, I will be happy to do that.
Thank you so
And
much for
thank you
joining
again.
us.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here. And guys, you're going to see a lot of me. Katie and I and Keith will get together, plan some things, and I look forward to it.
Okay.
Wonderful. And like I said, stick around if you have time. You're always
Okay.
welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so sorry, I'm kind of rushing tonight, but our next person is Lisa Ellis, and she let me know that she has to leave at a certain time, so I want to make sure that she can talk to us as well and answer a couple of questions also. So Lisa is running for South Carolina State Superintendent of Education.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I think that I have spoken to y'all before, correct? It's all, everything before the primary was a blur. And so, and now everything after the primary is quickly becoming a blur as well. So I am grateful to be returning and to speak with you again, and really just go back to answering any questions now that we know in terms of this race, who the opponent is. We have a lot of work to do to get the message out, because we stand for two very different public education systems in South Carolina. And so it's just a matter of making sure that people understand both platforms and the goal of each of us as candidates. So my platform has not changed. I'm still working on a high quality education for everyone, and focusing on teacher recruitment and retention with that, and really sort of keeping that as the focus, because all of the other stuff is secondary to not having teachers in the classroom. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I do need to pop out at 7:45 to get ready for an 8 o'clock Zoom and get my thoughts together for that. So I'm sorry that I'm jumping in and then jumping back out.
All right. I see Carrie's hand first.
Good evening. I'm Kerry Kimmel. I'm the county executive chair on the state board. One of the issues which seems not to be being talked about is that your opponent seems to be a proponent of essentially what is white segregationist academies. You agree? That issue needs to be brought out entirely. I have had conversations with members of the Republican Party who are disgusted by this approach. So please use that as a lever against her. What can I say?
Yeah, just like I said, differentiating our two platforms. I've had the pleasure of meeting since the primary, meeting with people. In particular, I was in the Gilbert area at the Gilbert Peach Festival and in that parade, and actually had probably 8 or 9 people pull me out of the parade to say, I'm a Republican, but I'm voting for you. And so, so I think that this is sort of the, I don't know, the straw that may break the camel's back in terms of the moderate versus, far right of the Republican Party. But that gives me hope that people are, and then there was also a lot of people that I knew personally, which, had always guessed at their political leanings, but I got lots of texts that day saying, I just voted in my first Democratic primary for you. And so my hope is that we'll have, we're going to need that moderate Republican vote to help win this. Particularly, I heard, when I jumped in, y'all were talking about the number of people that aren't voting in South Carolina, which is just so frustrating, not only as a candidate, but as a citizen of this state, because I think that we could have things change very quickly if we could get those people to the polls. But yeah, I think that that's definitely something that we're gonna and people have already started doing, between that and the fact that Ms. Weaver doesn't have the qualifications in terms of she doesn't have the master's degree. That also has blown up in the media and on social media. So I think that we've got some really good people willing to point out the concerns.
I have one quick question. I'd like your opinion on the idea of providing a rebate against taxes in a state that's ranked 48th in education in the country. Your opinion.
You mean the money that we're getting that they're spending the surplus on, instead of spending it on
they're giving
teacher
it back to
salaries or school buildings or roads or infrastructure or internet? I'm curious to know, and I haven't had a chance to look, if the budget breaks out, the amount of refund that we're getting, but breaks out the amount that's going to cost the state to generate. Because I remember when they did it the last couple years, how there was, and I feel like it was a news article that they talked about the amount of money that it costs just to generate that rebate or that refund back to people. So this year the budget was really disappointing for teachers across the board. The good news is that we have seen some districts step up and figure out how to get teachers the raise. Beaufort County just really increased their salary schedule. Abbeville was doing theirs as well. So we have seen districts starting to step up in spite of what the state is not giving them. My own district, not so much, but while I breathe, I hope. So yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, I think I saw Karen's hand next, and this will be our last question for Lisa for now, trying to be fair and give each candidate about the same amount of time. And then, like I said, if you're able to stick on and talk with us more later, that would be great too. But we understand you're busy, so I'm just trying to be fair with everybody's time. Karen?
So yes, more the same. I just wanted to share with Lisa that here in Kershaw, I have heard teachers who vote Republican say that they will vote for you because of their earnest desire to have an educator in the position. What concerns me is that it is so easy to hit that button at the top that says straight party ticket. And I think the challenge for you and for us is really going to be to educate folks that don't hit that button, go through so that these Republican teachers who so much want you to be elected will actually vote for you.
Absolutely. And I think, one of the things that I had to go into school today to deal with some stuff. And I was talking with a colleague that was there, and, not only getting getting teachers to vote, period, but teachers, to vote differently with education as the forefront of their issues, but to also speak with their friends and family about why this position is so important and why. I mean, it's one of those things where my opponent is really could not be more opposite than me, and so there's two clear delineations of public education moving into the future. And so, I think that has really awakened a lot of teachers that haven't paid attention in the past. My hope also with them, choosing not to vote straight ticket, which I've never understood anyway, is that they will consider not only, because what I try to tell people that, as state superintendent, I can do some things immediately with the Department of Education, but it would be education would move forward a lot quicker if you had a governor that supported public education and was making it a priority. And if you had a house, a House of South Carolina House of Representatives that really supported public education. Because, if we don't get some new people in office, it's going to be an uphill battle like it has been for the last however many years. And so just trying to have those conversations as well as I get out and meet with people. But it's some interesting conversations for sure. So thank you. But it's good to hear that people are talking about the race and really, having conversations about it. I do think we're sort of at a crossroads with what this is going to look like.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, Lisa.
Sure.
Fantastic job. So far we've heard from two amazing candidates. And that was Evangeline Hunley for Congressional District 5 and Lisa Ellis for State Superintendent of Education. And again, just thank you so much for joining us and for speaking to us and doing such a great job. And we are now going to hear from our U.S. Senate candidate, Representative Crystal Matthews.
Thank you, Katie. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you. I know you all are not used to seeing me without my red glasses, but it is so hot here in South Carolina that I have my contacts in. I am so excited to be the Democratic nominee for the U.S. Senate. Now we are moving forward together. So for me, I am still pushing the same platform that I had before, but more pivoting toward making sure voters are engaged and feel empowered to participate in this process, and making sure that we move throughout the state, visiting every single county and touching voters everywhere. Right now, the Gun Violence Act, the Women's PRO Act, all of those, Women's Health Care Protection Act, those are of utmost importance to me. I'm seeing now that people are finally waking up and paying attention and seeing that elections really do have consequences. So I am excited to get my plan out and really start working to beat Tim Scott, which is going to mean us touching all 46 counties, walking through them, and not just relying on the typical channels to get people out to vote, to make sure they know I'm on the ballot, to make sure that we're raising name awareness. It's going to take all of us as a group. And I'm excited to be there fighting for the needs of South Carolina. We talk about infrastructure, education, we talk about broadband. I'm so glad we have great candidates that are running for all of these offices, because if we band together, I believe that we can make the difference that's necessary for working families and those of us who are in this state who are not in the upper echelon. And so I'm excited to be here. Katie, I have talked to you all before, and so I want to make sure that you all get to ask me questions, especially now that I am the nominee and people don't have to necessarily play neutral anymore. I want to make sure I give you a chance to ask me questions so that I can make sure I'm answering them for you.
Crystal,
Thank you, Crystal.
I'm going to just make this real quick. We met at Sun City when you were here.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the program, we spoke. I want to get in touch with you, and I think I can do that through Keith. Does he have your information in terms of your manager, your campaign manager?
I think Yolanda is on the line right now. As far as, let me see, if you're on the line, please throw your thing in the chat. You can reach me at scheduling at matthewsforsenate.com, but I'll also throw my email address in the chat as well.
Okay, that would be great.
Okay. And it's just crystal.matthews@matthewsforsenate.com.
It's crystal.matthews.
At matthewsforsenate.com. And I just threw it in the chat.
Okay. Thank you so much. I will be in touch.
You're very welcome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I don't know if I saw Verda's hand first or Carrie's hand first. That was really close.
Ladies first.
All right. Verda.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Katie. Crystal, thank you for coming tonight. My question is, what did you learn from the primary that you think can be a positive impact for your current candidacy?
What did I learn from the primary? I learned that Democrats are ready for the energy and they're ready for somebody who is ready to put up a fight versus necessarily all the niceties that we normally do. I think that's going to help me going forward because it lets me know that people are okay with me really getting in the thick of it when it comes to this candidacy and fighting for us to win. One of the other things that I learned is that people really want to see me as the candidate. You know, I tried to be in as many places as I could, but people really want to see and touch you. They really want to come out and meet you and greet you and see you in person. And that makes all the difference. And so I've really learned that too. I've learned that there's not as many Republicans as I heard the candidate before me saying, you know, they are really off put by some of the things their own party is doing. And they are a lot more open to having conversations with us now than they were before. So those three things I think are valuable in going forward because they let me know exactly what the playing field looks like. Also the numbers from the precincts for voting, we kind of know where we need to make sure we're touching as far as percentages. The turnout was really low, but even with that, it lets us know that what age range, what demographic, what precincts and counties we need to really hit hard as far as getting people to come back to the table.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Carrie.
She's still muted.
Carrie, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Happens
Okay.
to all of us.
There we
Yeah,
are.
there you go.
It was, as I said, I have an observation more than a question. I've watched the candidates, Jamie Harrison, Fran Pearson, Archie Parnell, good people, all running for either Congress or the Senate. And there was one area that they never talked about and one strategy they never used. Please think about it. Essentially run on your opponent's voting record. All I've ever heard from Democrats is this is what I want to do. Right? That's great. I love it. But you got to say what your opponent did. Please. I've already picked on Travis to do more ops research for the candidates. But this is something you can do yourself. It's so obvious.
Yes, I agree. And that is part of my strategy going forward. I also have a group of people, and anybody is welcome to do this as well, that are, I have interns that are going to actually video the things that he said that he's done, especially opportunity zones. Opportunity zones have been a big failure for South Carolina, and he stays running on that. So we are most certainly going to take advantage of the fact that it has not benefited us, and we are going to highlight that. So there is a group of volunteers that are dedicated to making sure we have actual footage that we can show people, because sometimes people don't believe it unless they see it. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Oh, okay. I think that trying to be fair, I hate cutting people off and not letting you ask all your questions. I'm so sorry. But I think we've got time for one more question, and I saw Keith's hand next.
I yield to Fred.
Okay, Fred.
I'll have plenty of opportunity to bend the ears of the candidates later on.
Thank you, Keith. And thank you, Crystal, for showing up tonight. And thank you, Katie, for having us. Real quickly, I want to reiterate what was just said about running an aggressive campaign. One of the things that I'm tired of as a Democrat is how polite we are as we run for office, trying to be above the fray. But I think, especially with some of the people that were challenging for the future of the country, we need to be more aggressive. And I think we have to point this out. I mean, I think your opponent is really a part of a dangerous cabal of people that are trying to ruin the country. And if we don't point this out, whether if you're watching these hearings or just looking at their voting record, so my only thought and request is, if you don't mind me being impolite, is to kick ass and take names and just go after these people, because they get away with murder.
I love
Whether
it.
they're murdering our school children through the stupid gun bills, to take the time to, South Carolina still doesn't have Medicare for people. I mean, these are things that if you're in a federal office, you should be leading to make your state better and taking advantage of it, rather than burning through so many silly different other issues. Probably not so much a question, but please just a request to be as nasty as these people are, because I think that's the one thing that we have done as a party, politely losing. And I think I'm tired of that.
I am most certainly with you, Fred. I am kicking out, taking names. So I'm in it to win it. Yes. I am a little bit ruthless, in case you don't know that. And so trust me when I tell you, I'm bringing it. I'm bringing the pain.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Crystal Matthews. Awesome job. Okay, so you are more than welcome to stick around with us if you want. Keith and I are gonna give our little spiels very quickly, and then you all know us and have access to us anyway. So we'll open it back up to our up the ticket candidates after that. So Keith, go ahead.
You bushwhacked me again.
I did.
Yeah, I was going to let you go first. Anyway,
Oh,
okay.
you were, weren't you?
As y'all most all know,
You got
I'm
this.
Keith Gray Sr. I'm running for House District 45, which is now the central and southern part of Lancaster County, going into a couple precincts of Kershaw County. This was Mandy Powers and Rowell turf. She flipped this turf. The demographics are in favor of me. This is winnable. We're going to hit the doors. We're going to get our message out that, unlike the Republicans who've run this state into the ground for over 20 years, we will get something done if you send enough of us down there. So you need to elect me, you need to elect Katie, and we met a whole bunch of other young, energized Democrats across this state running for House. We need all of us down there, which, of course, by the way, that made me the grandpa of the group. Thank you.
Thank you,
Katie.
Keith. Sorry for switching that up on you there. But as always, you did a great job. So most of what I learned, I know from Keith. So thank you, Keith. And I'm Katie Crosby. I am running for South Carolina House here in District 44. And the reason I look like this mess right now and not, a nice put together person is because I was at a rally for abortion rights in Columbia today. That is who I am. I look like this more than not because I'm out there on the ground fighting for us. And I want you to know that just like Keith's district, my district is winnable. So yes, this is South Carolina, but no, it is not red. It is purple. And I have a real chance at winning. Let me tell you this. Based on data from 2014 and 2018 midterms, we have a bigger Democratic base in my district than my win number. Now, that's going to take us getting all those folks out to vote, but they are there for us to win it. And my opponent, who is not an incumbent, so that's another step up that I have, He's raised $7,000 for his primary. Well, I've also raised $7,000. So this is a purple district, and all it takes is us to get out there and work and donate, and we can win this. So that's it for me. I'm going to give it back to y'all to ask questions. Thank you, Evangeline and Crystal, for sticking around. So I'm going to hand it back to everyone else. Here you go.
Is Carrie's hand still up, or is that from earlier?
I think that's from earlier.
That's earlier. I
Okay,
had my piece. Thank you.
thank you, Carrie. Well, Evangeline, did you have a question? You're still muted.
Okay. All right, guys. I was just wanting to jump in on some stuff. But generally speaking, Crystal, congratulations, girl. Woo! I voted for you, and you made a very good first impression on me with the energy that you have. The way that you speak is so personable and relatable to a lot of people, especially our biggest voting group in America. That would be Katie, you too, and Crystal and the millennial group. But you come with a lot of experience and background, and definitely want you to use it. Listen, we both have a whole lot to run on or run against, as some of our great comrades out there in the fight have told us tonight. And that is going to be how we win, because when there's nothing being done, people want to see something. And we can put concrete things together. We do need to all, as much as possible, marry our campaigns. I know that you and Lisa are statewide, so you have such a much larger territory to cover, but I've got a cool almost mill in my territory. And I know that together with the governorship, the Senate, the House, and the federal level, and then us taking over the state house like we should, this state will be rocking and rolling, because I never hear anything on the national news about South Carolina. We're a has-been, gone, automatic red, but I think we're going to cause an earthquake in this nation when we all win our seats, because our state is ready for this. And more than that, even if they don't know that they're ready, they're about to be ready, because we have to go out and tell them. Now, I will make a note, because I consider us all family here, Crystal. I saw that attack that they made on you at the very last minute.
Mhm.
It probably garnered you a whole lot more votes than they ever expected it to. However, because it was real, it was from the heart. And to tell you the truth, I kind of heard this, if it's even true, because these people are known for lying about us, or misconstruing and making up things. So you better be prepared, as I am, for the attacks that will be coming your way. That was just a baby taste of what you are about to be facing. And use those things to your advantage, as I intend to. I will not run away from that fantastic work that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer has done in our country. I will embrace that. And so the moment that they start to run that commercial, I'm going to hit them back with one that says, indeed, I am proud to be connected with people that do something for those who can't do for themselves. So we do have to marry policy with what our state needs, and be prepared for those attacks, and learn from them, in that we're always being watched, always being listened to. So just take it in stride, learn from that, and move ahead. But the sincerity I could hear as much as then as I could when I met you. So keep up the good fight. Be prepared for what is ahead.
Well,
Just me too.
and I will say this to everybody on the line. The day that one of the things that happened that day that I didn't get a chance to talk about was I met with 60 white women, 60 older white women. Y'all, they were riled up and ready to go. They was like, we don't give a damn. Like, and so one of the things that I talk about on my platform, and I try to highlight I know Mia's not in the race anymore, but one of the things that I try to highlight is that when a Black woman's tears are not worth the weight of a white woman's tears. And I want y'all to understand what I mean by that. When we show emotion or frustration, or, we're expressing ourselves freely, it's always read as aggression or anger or something negative. And sometimes we're just venting. We don't have safe spaces where we can vent. So if you can be a part of that safe space, that's why I said Democrats have to make sure that we are protecting our own. The Republicans are the party of the insurrection.
Absolutely.
When we talk about the song, the old gospel song that my dad used to play, sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around mine.
Yeah. Exactly.
For y'all to understand that remember that there are things about all of us that we're constantly learning. And when at Black women and we're expressing things strongly, and it's not anger, it's not aggression. Sometimes it's just the expression. And so I just wanted to add, because that's one of the things that I'm highlight on my platform, is making sure that we understand that diversity means diversity in not expression as well.
Just be aware and learn from those things. That's what I'm saying, because you got a lot going for you, and you don't want them to try and take you down on simple things.
Crystal, one of the things about women of color, Black and brown women of color who run for political office, there are three things against them automatically. Racism, okay, is one. Lack of funding is another. And sexism is the third. And those are things that we are constantly trying to overcome. When you're dealing with a person like Tim Scott, now mind you, Tim doesn't have to run for office. He has a war chest of approximately $44 million. He doesn't have to run. He has to sit back and watch. And the first attack came with the Rock Hill Herald, that article. And there will be others, because that is the only way that they know how to run. And so he's not going to visit the 46 counties. He doesn't need them. He doesn't need them. He's got the money. But money isn't everything. Just because you have it doesn't mean you will win. You have to be strategic in how you approach your campaign and what you are trying to do to get, as Evangeline said, because I said 300,000 people not voting, she's telling me 1 million, that's even worse, So it's about how you approach the battle that you're going to fight. And so I think once we keep that in mind, that doesn't necessarily make it easy, but your path forward. And I think that is key to winning, But as I said, I will be in touch with you, Crystal, and for Evangeline and the rest of the women who are running, and Keith, it's about changing hearts and minds and about listening, as Evangeline said. You have to listen to these people who are not voting or who haven't voted, and then approach them in what they want you to do and what you think you can do, because you're not going to be able to do it all at once that quickly. But as long as they know you're coming back and reporting back to them and care about them, I think we will have an interesting election coming up.
And I do have to run in like just 2 minutes. So I'm not sure if any of the hands were for me. Is there any way to figure that out, Katie?
Sure. Alan, what's your question for Representative Crystal Matthews?
Oh,
Okay, Bonnie?
It was just a general comment. I know, and I can't remember now if it was Evangeline or Crystal said that nothing ever happens that's noted in the news for South Carolina, except, our dear Lindsey Graham has been in the news for being subpoenaed for trying to change the election in South Carolina. So yeah, we're in the news for all the wrong reasons. And Crystal, as an old white woman, honey, you go. You do whatever you need to do. You yell, scream, shout, do whatever. We're here for you.
Thank you so much.
You're
I will
welcome.
send in love. Thank y'all. Y'all will see me again.
Yeah, we need more emotion out there because that's real.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, back to Alan.
Okay, I just want to let everyone know, in case they haven't seen it, I posted a link in the chat this weekend. Our Revolution South Carolina is going to be hosting a forum with our own Katie Crosby and Lisa Ellis, who was on this call earlier, on there speaking about the future of education in South Carolina. Just a few words on that. We've discovered this is a really complex issue. We spent a couple of weeks doing research, trying to get prepared for this, and we are just overwhelmed at the amount of information that's out there, the confusion that's out there. So anyone who wants to learn more about education and the future of that education is welcome to join us. You can click on the link in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. And just a quick note on the chat. So some of you have heard me say this a lot, but some of you haven't, so I'm going to say it again. If you click on the chat and next to the little box where you can type something in, there are 3 dots. You can click on those 3 dots and then click on Save Chat. So our candidates have been putting information in, and Alan put in links, and some other folks have put in some information. So you can go click on the 3 dots and click on
where is
Save
that?
Chat.
Okay, I'm looking for it, Katie. More 3 dots where?
So when you open up the chat box
Mm-hmm.
and it says type message here,
Mm-hmm.
there's 3 dots on the right.
Let me see. Type message here. I don't see the 3 dots.
Uh-oh, I've got a little page, and then I've got a smiley face, and then I've got my 3 dots.
Okay, let me see. Okay, I'm going to chat. Yeah, I've been able to save it before, but for some crazy reason, I was sent to everyone. No.
We've had issues with the feature getting turned off before. Can anybody else check and see if it's working for you?
I've
It
got
is?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's working fine here
Well, maybe.
in Chrome.
Yeah. Let's see. Under my notifications.
Oh, but Shimsy doesn't have it.
Well, I have been able to save it before. I don't know what's going on now. Let's see. I go there, the chat.
Okay, well, if anyone needs anything, oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. No problem.
If anyone needs any of this information, just let me know, and I will make sure that you get it.
Okay. That sounds good. I'm gonna hit this link first.
Okay.
So after we save the chat, how do we print it?
Let's see.
Can you print it?
There's an option. After you do the save chat,
Yeah.
it'll pop up very briefly. View in folder. Click on that, and that'll take you to where it's. Well, I'm getting feedback. I do not have 2 things open here.
Let me turn
Okay.
Someone has 2 audio inputs. Okay. Katie, you're running Windows?
Yes, I'm on Windows and it works.
Why don't you do a quick screen share and show them?
I don't know if I can share the actual Zoom window. You can give it a try. And then no, I can't.
No.
Nope.
Mine looks different because I'm running I'm running Chrome on Linux and it looks
Okay.
good.
Well, we have officially entered the weeds, folks. I'm going to bring us back. My fault. Sorry about that. I just wanted to make a quick note. Keith, your hand is still up. Did you have a question?
I have a suggestion for the candidates. I'll have to catch the others later since they had to move on to other things. But we have a situation where we're already seeing the Republicans in South Carolina beating their chests about all these wonderful things they're doing for spending money on education and giving tax breaks. With what they're doing, using federal money that the Republicans in like Norman and Lindsay and the rest voted against. And we need to nail them to the wall on that. I mean, this is going to be important for us down ticket, that people are hearing it from the top to the bottom.
Yes.
That we call them out on this hypocrisy. And the fact is, next year, if there weren't any more Democratic money, there ain't going to be any more stuff. Thank you. I'll get my hand down.
Thank you, Keith. Lee?
Hi, sorry, I had to unmute here. Hi, everyone. I will tell you, this is such an encouraging meeting today. Thank you, Katie and Keith and everyone who participated in putting it together. And thank you to the candidates that have joined us. We are excited. I'm excited.
Says he's much more concerned about his own business than others.
I think that was a little bit of a lag there.
Okay.
It happens.
Yeah, no worries. So I put the question in the chat. What can we do to support any of the candidates? You know, what are some concrete things that we can do? We recently had our Treetops community, it's a 55 and over community here in Lancaster, of people that are asking what they can do to help. And they're also asking when can they expect to receive signs so that they can post in their yards?
Well, for me, I can just speak to my campaign. We are in our final organizing phase for the remainder of this campaign, in which once we have the materials ready for you and we have exactly what type of events that may be in your area that will be doing, we would obviously notify you and maybe ask for your participation in that way, either bringing people or when it comes time for canvassing. So there will be opportunities that we'll start to post and make you aware of as far as where we need the help. So all hands on deck. There will be opportunities that are forthcoming for that.
May I intersect something in here?
Please.
Katie and I are very, very determined to run a highly coordinated campaign with all candidates up and down the ticket here.
Yes.
If we get door hangers here between Katie up in the Indian land and myself down in the lower part of this county, we will hand those out when we canvass. And on the other side, if you have any people working in this area doing some targeted canvassing or events, we will let us know. We'll get you the material for both of our campaigns as well as our generic Lancaster County Democratic Party stuff.
Okay.
Yes, Evangeline, we are more than happy to hand stuff out for you. And the reason I'm holding this up, I just got 3 boxes of these delivered today. These are just generic door hangers for our county party. So I'm going to hand these out as I canvass, and Keith and Evangeline, if you can do this too. And I'm going to talk to the other candidates so that as people are finding out we have candidates, they can also find out that we have a county party.
Oh, good.
And I'm not going to say much more except that I need folks to phone bank and canvas and other things. And I put that link in the chat where you can sign up to do that.
Yes.
That's it. Thank you.
She's so much more organized than I am.
Was that you, Katie?
Was that
Who was that talking just now? Because my video has been going in and out. Who was
oh
that?
no.
Yeah, let me see what you showed us.
Yes. So we have these door hangers for our county party.
Okay.
So that folks know it's not just one candidate, that we have a whole network here of people working together and that we are working to win.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So Evangeline and Keith, do you have any signups for actually Keith, I think I can share yours in the chat too.
Yes, it's going to be on my website. If you go on my website, there is I think a volunteer button. You can put your information in there and I will follow up with you that way. And she already put in the chat my website.
And our county website has a full page of all the candidates with their contact information.
Oh, great. Okay.
And we'll publish any information on specific events you're doing.
Yes. Okay.
Of course, we're
That
going
is
to try to
something I
do
got to get to you. Yes. Does anyone else have any questions for me? Because I've got to check out. Well, thank you. Do you see anything, Katie?
I don't see anything.
All right. Well, thank you guys, but I am available for you, Katie. That number I called you on today, save it. That is my campaign number. So save it in your phone, pass it to Keith.
Will do. Thank you for spending so much time with us. I really appreciate that.
Well, I hadn't seen you in so long, but I hear from you all the time, guys. Katie and Keith are awesome, and they are doing everything they can to make a difference in the state and in our area. So I want to join you in that fight. So thanks again, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. So we are going to get on to the rest of our business. It won't be much longer, I promise. Here is Keith's volunteer sign up. All right. And I'm going to put our minutes in the chat from our last meeting so you can see those. And if you see any corrections that need to be made, you can just let us know and we will make those corrections. So can I get a motion to accept the minutes? With the, whatever corrections people notice that need to be made.
Motion to accept.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alan.
I'll second.
Keith seconds. And I think that's actually all we need for minutes. I don't think we have to vote on that. I was reading up on my Robert's rules. All right. So the next thing is our 5-minute action. And I'm glad that our conversation kind of naturally went this direction because I had written down for our 5-minute action today to sign up to volunteer for a candidate. And we were just talking about that and now all the links are in the chat. So if you have not already, which I know several of you already have, and you are able, you can sign up to volunteer for any of these wonderful candidates that you heard from tonight. We need your help interacting with people, like canvassing and phone banking, but I know that's not everyone's favorite thing. We also need you to write postcards or host house parties for fundraisers. And that doesn't mean anything extravagant. It literally just means invite some neighbors over, let us meet them and ask them for money. And if you can't do any of those things, but you can donate, that helps just as much. So I'm going to give y'all just a minute to look through the chat, or let me know if you need me to send you any links if you can't save it, and sign up to volunteer for one of these candidates that we heard from tonight. Okay, and then the last thing we've got for this meeting is any additional discussion or announcements. I'm gonna put our upcoming events in the chat as well. So let me know if this works. I'm putting a link in there and I'm hoping that you can click on it and see all of our events that are coming up on Mobilize. So just give me a thumbs up if that link works for you. I'm testing a new thing.
Also, we're looking
All
for
right.
people to run for school board.
Oh yes, Keith, thank you for bringing that up. Oh my goodness.
That the filing starts August 1st. And it's the odd numbered districts, 1, 3, 5, and 7. We need people, we need fighters to stand up and be ready to push back on the crap we know that's going to come up. The
I
other,
believe, oh, go ahead.
pardon?
Sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Oh, we know there's going to be a lot of cultural war BS. We need to have people on the board, people in the audience, standing up and saying, that is not dealing with the issues our children have. That is not getting them educated. That is getting in the way. Go away.
And I believe that we need candidates, good candidates for all of those odd numbered districts, correct, Keith? All of those districts. So if you live in any of those and we can help you find out if you don't know, then we need folks to step up. So if you want to step up or you know somebody else who might, let us know and we can help you every step of the way. So don't worry.
And one other thing, running for school board, you will not be handicapped by the straight ticket vote.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if they pull the straight ticket, anyone wanting to vote on any of the school board races has to go down to that part of the ballot. It does not automatically. That's why Brandon Newton and the rest were trying to get it made partisan here, so they could benefit from a blind straight ticket voting. So while we can, let's get our people in there and make sure people go down to that part of the ballot after they're done with all the rest of the races. Thank you.
All right. Any other discussion or announcements? Okay, well, as I'm closing out this meeting, I just want to mention this was our biggest meeting of the year. At one point, I looked down and we had 32 people on the meeting, which is
33.
amazing. 33. Wow. So you are all definitely doing your jobs. You're talking to your neighbors, you're talking to your friends, and you're inviting them in. Yes, Lori, some of these days you'll run. Yes, you're going to run this year. Yes.
we need Lori.
No, wait. No, not yet. So I deferred the start of my doctoral program. I start in the fall. I
Oh,
can't,
wow.
yeah, I can't run for office too.
Okay.
But let me get a year or so under my belt, and then we'll talk.
Okay. Maybe we'll talk about who else you know who could run.
Yep.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, I just appreciate all of you and the amazing work that you're doing, and keep at it. And if you notice someone who wasn't here tonight, text or call them, email them, check in, hopefully they were just on vacation, but let's let folks know that we noticed they were missing. That means a lot to people. So let's let people know that we miss them and that we want to see them and we care about how they're doing. So again, if somebody was not here tonight that you noticed, send them a text or give them a call and let them know. And with that, I'm gonna
Katie, can you stay on for a minute? So we could talk about having something here at my house.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Can I get a motion to adjourn? All right, Effie, thank you. Second? Nora, I saw Nora just before Bonnie and Jean. All right, all those in favor? And I know I don't get a vote, but all right. Have a good night, everybody.
You too.
Thank you so much. How are you, Teresa?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I am tired. It's okay.
It's been a week, I tell you. I had plenty of people in town, and the last person left on Wednesday, and I'm just like, ah, can I breathe? But I did get your voicemail. You wanted to set up some time. So you have a calendar, what dates are good for you. This weekend, I'm going to just relax.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be out of town from this Saturday to the next Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, so no rush on anything.
Okay.
Would you rather do a weekend or a weeknight?
A weekend or is good. I think there'll probably be more turnout if we do it on a weekend.
Okay.
We do around between 2 to 5 or something like that.
Okay.
Okay, what are we talking about here?
Oh, Teresa wanted to host a like a house party meet and greet for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Did we give you a heart attack? I'm sorry.
No problem. I may show up anyway, depending. Week from this Tuesday, my wife has her hip replacement surgery. So I'm going to be really tied up from that point for a couple weeks probably. But other than that, y'all take care. Good night.
You too, Keith.
Oops, I got to turn the recording